And I'm very proud to welcome her, Ms. Ekaterina Walter.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing today? Good. Today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I talk about in the book, but with the focus on inclusion, because one of the things that you will see in any innovative company is they absolutely foster a diverse environment. Not just diverse environment, but diverse teamwork, diverse thinking, diverse innovation, addressing a diverse customer. Everything about it in our sort of now economy and a global economy and a social economy becoming more, and there's less borders, and there's a more global aspect to what we're doing. So that literally drives the necessity for diversity. The 5 Ps that I just mentioned that I talk about in the book and that just kind of form the success of innovative companies are passion, purpose, people, product, and partnerships. Raise your hand if you think you are an entrepreneur. That is actually quite interesting. Sunil, we talked about innovative thinking, right? I tell you what, most of the time when I ask that question, when I talk in front of a brand, right? I think I get maybe 6 hands out of 300 to 500 go up. There's more hands here. Why am I asking this question? Because if we work for a brand, we naturally don't think we're entrepreneurial. Right? So we think, okay, great. Well, I sit somewhere in the structure, and I'm X levels removed from CEO. You know, I can do some things, but I really can't impact much. So we really don't think that we have the entrepreneurial spirit inside of us. I think this is wrong, and I believe that every single one of us is an entrepreneur. I've worked in brand side my whole life, but the things that we've done and I've seen people do with no budgets, no teams, no particular authority, true leaders, is amazing. And I think every single one of us can do that. So when I look at those sort of 5 Ps, or how does the organization foster this entrepreneurial environment, I look for it through the eye of an entrepreneur, is at least is what I call it, right? There's a lot of factors that sort of definitely impact the success of the company. But the biggest impact you can have as an innovative company is make sure your people are utilized to their full potential. How do I do that? Every single person looks at the world through their own lens. Nobody is the same. There are some similarities, but nobody is the same. Why? They look at the world through the lens of their own passion, through the lens of their own purpose, through the lens of what do they want to become in life, what do they want to achieve, not just on professional level, but personal. So if you take sort of the vision of every single one of you, not just your CEO, you know, Neil, or anybody else, just yours, it's important to look at how the factors of your passion and the way you look at the world really impact the bigger picture. Passion fuels perseverance, period. If you have a team of people who don't care about what they're doing, there is no way in heck you're going to achieve the results that you want to achieve. It's just not going to happen. I work 24/7 because I care about the company, but I also care about what is the change, what the change that I can drive actually within the company, right? So if you want dedicated workforce, dedicated, diverse workforce that is happy to work with each other, you need to consider the passions of your people. One last thing here is passion is great, but if it isn't paired with action, nothing happens. People talk about Facebook-like application for years. Nobody really sat down and created it. As a matter of fact, Zuckerberg himself was surprised it was a success. Why? Because you have to act on it. Even if it's a little bit, even if it's small steps, a little bit at a time, you're going to get there. What does purpose really mean? One thing that I found about successful companies and successful entrepreneurs, I interview a lot of people, even if they're in charge of a small business, I always ask them, what do you think is one thing that truly led to where you are right now? And the answer I'm always given, in one way or another, always comes back to knowing where you're going and knowing your why. And interestingly enough, for the companies who are successful for a long period of time, not just come and go, 5, 10 years later, it's actually the case continuously. So what happens is the company's direction change and tactics and strategies, but the purpose actually stays the same. Let's take an example. Facebook. Their purpose is, and their vision and their purpose constantly was for the last 9 years, is to make the world more open and connected. Disney, bring joy to kids. Starbucks, foster the community environment where people can come together. Zappos, wow customer service. Southwest Airlines, affordable transportation for a common man. Every single time you think about what is it that I need to do this year, I want you to come back to what is the purpose that I'm living right now. Here's the thing, success is a team sport. If anybody out there tells you that there's such a thing as a self-made man, it's a lie. Every single success you have, small or large, is based on the relationships you have. It's all about who you know, who you work with, and who can help take your vision to the next level. You cannot do it alone. So building important principles behind how you hire people and how you treat them is huge. And Neil will be the first one to tell you that, right? So one of my favorite quotes is by Tony Hsieh about the culture, the CEO of Zappos. And Tony says, for individuals, character is destiny. But for companies and organizations, culture is destiny. Your company culture or lack thereof directly contributes to the success of your business, and it's absolutely true. What is it, how do we tie a purpose to our culture? And how do we create the right hiring practices and management practices that take us to that next level of innovation? Well, here's one thing that a lot of successful companies do. They hire for attitude. Why? Because skills can be taught and passion can't. Example, Zappos. Zappos has a very rigorous hiring process. But once the person is hired, they actually give them a 4-week training around the company and the culture and who they are and what they want them to do, everything that they possibly need to know. And at the end of that training, they ask them a question. Do you want to take money to leave? Every year, depending on how economy is doing, Zappos gives $2,000 to $4,000 to a person to leave after 4 weeks on a job. 1% of new hires take it. Why is it cool? Why is it awesome? Why is it a great practice? It is because Tony estimates that over the life of Zappos, he lost about $100 million based on bad management decisions or decisions that by leaders who didn't really care or understand the culture, or for not addressing customer needs in time. $100 million. And I bet you the number is probably even higher. Your people are your brand. Each one of your employees is your brand's face, your brand's ambassador, your brand's marketer. When I say build movement, not create campaigns, what I mean is if your customers love your brand, one of the bigger reasons why they love your brand is because your employees do. It is extremely transparent when the employees of a company hate working there or don't care. I mean, hey, there's a fine line between hate and love, so you can work with that. But indifference, you can't do anything about. So it is very visible. The companies that are successful, what they do is they actually create internal advocacy that then potentially extends into external advocacy. They give a power to their people to really speak on their behalf. Zappos is one of those companies. I don't care whether you sell shoes or somewhere on the floor or you are just a customer service rep. If you want, you have a full power to go on Twitter and Facebook, anywhere personally in the conversation that you have, and talk to your customers and help them out. You have a full power to do that. You just need to use your common sense. Introducing a little bit of fun is always great. If you go to Facebook and there are game rooms, it's stinky there. It's sweaty, and it's a mess because honestly, most of the employee base is young, and there's these guys who work all night on the new code, push it live every single Tuesday, and they want to go and spend time with their coworkers just on doing something else instead of going out to dinner. They go and they into a battlefield, virtual battlefield. So having a little bit of fun is great. Not only that, it actually allows you to be competitive. Managers at Zappos do really crazy things. There's one manager that says, look, he told his team, I know the goal I gave you for the next quarter is way higher than the last quarter. But here's what I'm going to tell you. If you can reach that 20% over the goal over the past quarter, I'm going to pick your vote. Shave my head, which happened at Zappos to a number of managers. Dress in a chicken suit and run around all day once the goal is reached, quacking, looking like total, anyway. So, and the team does, we don't care about monetary rewards, we don't care about anything else. We want our manager to see our manager being absolutely laughed at throughout the company. This is the best reward we could ever get. Not only they get to that goal every single time, they go way over it. Think about the ways that you can facilitate that within your teams, within your companies. Obviously, I don't advise doing on a larger scale what Tony does, but he literally dresses up in like a nurse outfit and other things for like HR videos. He literally does crazy things, and their leadership team sits in a monkey row. It's literally called monkey row because they want to remind themselves that they need to stay humble. There's bananas, there's fake palm trees, and the message that they're communicating to their team is not only just the open door policy, but look, if you need help for us to go to the warehouse and help you ship something out because you're short on hands, or if you need to do for us to do anything else, we're a part of your team. We're not above you. We are part of the culture that we want to create. Let's talk about the product. Zuckerberg introduced what is called a hackaway. A hackaway is not, we think about hackers and we think it's something negative, but a hackaway is an environment of agility, of real-time action, application, response, and the hacker mantra is code wins arguments. So let's talk a little bit talk about the product, but for people. Failure. We're all afraid of failure. Everybody thinks if I just raise a hand and speak up in the meeting, and it's a stupid idea, what will people think about me? The successful companies actually facilitate an environment where there is healthy conflict and where silly ideas or what we think are stupid ideas are actually welcomed. You can't get anywhere without failure. Think about this number, 5,126. This is the number of attempts Dyson took over the years to create a bagless vacuum cleaner. 5,127 for success. So what Dyson does in his company, he creates this interesting environment. It's absolutely open. Engineers on the same floor with marketers, et cetera, and people intermingle. And one of the mentalities of Dyson is fostering the sense of naivete and totally challenging the standard thinking. So they take what we think is normal and they flip it on their head. I mean, if they could, they would take the law of gravity and flip it on its head. You can't, but other laws you really can. They create the most innovative products in the industry. It's really fascinating. Airblade, do you know it's one of their best sellers? You see it everywhere in the bathrooms now. You go in the airports everywhere, you put your hands in 5 seconds, it's dry. Without damaging your skin, it's amazing. Do you know how this product was created? The team was working on a totally different product, and the engineer said, well, what if we do this thing? And obviously the rest of them look at it like, okay, well, we're used to stupid ideas, let's try it. They created the technology for Airblade while working on a different product. It didn't work for that particular product, which they solved either anyway, But they created a product that now is one of the best sellers for them. So the question is, are you allowing your teams to ask the same question over and over? Why? If most favorite questions, Jobs' favorite questions were why and why not. There's also what if. Creating an environment of agility and sense of urgency is critical for innovation. So there are several slogans Facebook has. One is, done is better than perfect. Another one is, move fast and break things, or ship things. Stay focused and keep shipping is another one. The interesting one that they have is, the journey is only 1% finished. They think that no matter how much innovation comes out of their company, they are never done. As a matter of fact, it's really crazy. They take it to extreme. If you go to their offices, most of their offices have a warehouse look. They are not finished. And the reason why they're not finished is because Zuckerberg says, look, every day we come to our cubes, and I don't want us to sit on our laurels and say, whoo-hoo, we had another great quarter, and we're doing real good. We want to think about, what is it that we haven't finished yet? Because there's a lot of things that are still unfinished. So he creates the culture of agility and urgency. Interestingly, what he does is he holds hackathons, and that is now a very, very common practice that a lot of other companies are trying to adopt. Hackathons is when they, once a month or whenever some engineer sends out email to the staff and says, hey, who's up for hackathon? I got some ideas. They get together for the whole night. Food is provided. Everybody comes, even lawyers who know nothing about coding, because it's fun. It's a cultural event. And what the rule of a hackathon is, you can work on any project other than your own. So they bring a diverse team, the group together, and they say, great, here's my idea, who wants to work on it? And suddenly you get people from other teams that you might not necessarily even known to create, to create this inclusive environment where diverse thinking is encouraged. So you code all night to create a prototype, and then at the end of it, Zuckerberg looks at everything that's been created and says, well, what about this? Or they show it to the leadership team, they shop it around the team. Some of the best products, some of the best features of Facebook came out of it. Newsfeed, timeline, chat, etc. That wasn't even on the roadmap, period. Another thing that companies do that's amazing is they make innovation personal. Google used to have a 20% program. You probably heard about that. Well, what you don't know, or might not know, is that 3M was actually a company that initiated a program years and years back called 15%, which means that every single week people can dedicate 15% of their time to work on a passion project. Sticky notes, right? One of probably top several revenue products that bring most revenue to 3M is actually created by an employee who started on his own time and then used 15% product to bring a small team together and come up with it. They have now a pretty good revenue stream out of those projects. Every year, sometimes several times of the year, they bring people and engineers with their ideas together, and they allow them to shop those ideas around. And if there are people from other teams who want to work on it, they let them do it. So if you make innovation personal, if you take the passion points that your employees have and allow them to act on that, it becomes extremely valuable for the company. The partnerships. So if you take a bigger scale, companies and how they partner, you can partner with anybody. You can partner with your customers, with your vendors, with the, internally. But one of the partnerships I want to talk about mostly today is partnering internally. This is a concept I created, the visionary and the builder, to explain how most of the companies operate, successful companies operate. Not one single person can be great at everything. So either you build a strong team or you partner with people that can get you to where you want to go. A lot of times, if you look at the companies like Facebook, you have several leaders, right? Zuckerberg and Sandberg, that work well together. Apple used to be Jobs and Wozniak, then Jobs and Cook. Hewlett-Packard, Software Steel Lines, et cetera, et cetera. Disney, for that matter. Did you know that Roy was actually, there were two brothers, right? Walt Disney was creating, it was a creative mind behind sort of the vision. Roy, his brother, who was a banker, who was amazing at running operations. So what starts happening is you have somebody who's great at vision, who's great at setting up, this is where we want to go. But at the same time, somebody needs to execute on that vision. So there starts to become a partnership, like two pieces of a puzzle that actually takes your business to the next level. Another example in my book is collegehumor.com. Ricky Van Veen, he created Vimeo, collegehumor.com, etc. He's a big media house. Now, he was in his early 20s, and he brought in 4 people in his leadership team who were good at different things, you know, coding, marketing, sales, etc. So the 4 of them came together as a piece of a puzzle. So when you think about the partnerships, those models right now are starting to get actually adopted by a lot of startups. A lot of startups are saying, look, I want to bring somebody on board who can help me, or several people who can help kind of contribute to different areas. We have the same leadership team at Branderati, and 4 of us are good at different things. That is a model of partnership that will actually contribute to diversity. Different perspectives, so you take Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg, different perspectives, different genders, different age, different networks. Sheryl is really networked in the government, and he isn't. She's really good at running day-to-day ops, and he's good at more of a vision and product. In closing, innovation is always hard. Every time you try to do something new in the industry, people try to put you in a box. So remember these? Telephone has too many shortcomings to be really seriously considered as a means of communication. I mean, devices literally have no value to us. Look at that. While technically television may be feasible, commercially it's really an impossibility. X-rays and radios and everything else have no future. FedEx, the founder of FedEx, got what, a C, I think? Yeah, on his paper in college that says, look, concept really need to be better formed, but it also needs to be more feasible. He said, screw it, left and started FedEx, right? So Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, Zuckerberg, all these people are really criticized, constantly criticized for their vision. As a matter of fact, Jeff Bezos, I don't know if you remember, when he launched reviews on Amazon, people said, are you crazy? Do you even know your own business model? What are you trying to do to tank your business? He's considered a dangerous investment on Wall Street continuously over the years. Still, shocks me. Why? Because he's an innovator and he thinks differently, and people are uncomfortable with that. But earlier this year, Amazon stock hit the highest point in history ever. Sometimes we really need to think about betting on the rider and not on the horse. So whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're absolutely right. You know, what is the philosophy that you as a leader trying to communicate to your teams? How do you include them? How do you truly diversify in everything you're doing? Not just your people resources, but everything else, technology, thinking, etc. Thank you.